Right now at 6, the body of a 12-year-old boy has been recovered from the Neosho River after 5 days of searching.
That's going to be another hot one. A few clouds out there. Looks nice, just won't feel so nice. So look at your forecast coming up.
Plus, the Joplin Church takes faith to the streets. We'll see how St. Peter the Apostle is celebrating a sacred Catholic tradition.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Samantha Walker.
I'm Chris Warner. It is now Monday. It's June the 23rd. We have made it through the first official weekend of summer. Now we're into the first official week of summer, and it certainly is summer outside.
Yes,
man. Went to the pool yesterday. Now, boys, some of the family, they are cooked. I mean, really, no matter what you do, sometimes you just burn anyway, but hopefully you're taking precautions if you're heading out.
Now is the time to make sure you have that sunscreen out and ready, Make
sure you know where it is and how to put it on and where to put it on, because otherwise you will end up looking like a rock lobster. It's the B-52s.
Yeah.
Oh, you know the song?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, in the next commercial break, we'll play it out for. In the meantime, we're going to play out your forecast with a live look from downtown Pittsburgh. You can see the sun is rising, coming up just over the tree line there. And we've got a few clouds, and it's going to be like that through the day. We're back into that point. In the wintertime, we get like this too. Spring and fall, typically not too much. But in the summer and winter, we get those days of deception where we show you some of these beautiful views, and they look so nice. But in reality, the weather is less than pleasant, and that's going to be the case again today. Heat advisories, Lynn, Bates County through 7 o'clock this evening. On a reminder, just because the rest of us aren't under heat advisories, it doesn't mean it's suddenly going to be spring-like. It's still going to be hot. It's still going to be muggy. Excuse me, and this is what I get for mocking Mother Nature. All right, future track. We got the gusty winds. We got a few clouds out there. We're looking to stay dry. I know we talked about pop-up storm chances as a possibility for today. Not looking likely today, but looking a little more likely tomorrow. But even then, those chances are low because they're pop-up storms. They'll be fairly isolated, and we'll talk about those in a few more minutes. 76 in Joplin right now, sitting at 75 in Pittsburgh. Look at all this orange. I mean, this is where we see these colors like mid-afternoon in spring, and here we are seeing them at 6 o'clock in the morning. All right, mid-upper 70s for most of us. We got Monette, Cassville, a little cooler at 73, but again, a fairly mild and above normal start for us. Low 80s by 9. Upper 80s by noon, 90s, low 90s at least, where our highs are headed today. Few clouds here and there, and those south winds continuing to be gusty, upwards of 30 miles an hour. Still be breezy tonight, and as I mentioned, we have those pop-up storm chances building in. We'll take a look at that and our summer heat here in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Chris, thanks. The body of a 12-year-old Erie, Kansas boy has been recovered on Sunday from the Neosho River. Around 12:38 yesterday, the Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks notified Neosho County Sheriff Greg Taylor of a possible sighting of a child's body in the Neosho River at the KGE Dam, located a couple miles south of Highway 400 in Labette County. First responders were able to recover the body successfully. The body has since been turned over to the Neosho County coroner. Sheriff Taylor said in a social media post, quote, "This has been a very hard week for everyone involved. I want to express my gratitude to every first responder and our community who have contributed to our recovery efforts." A memorial fund has been set up at the Commercial Bank of Erie for the two boys. You can donate at any of their locations in Parsons, Oswego, Chanute, Independence, Coffeyville, or Erie. To be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. A new Bourbon County Commissioner has been sworn in. Sam Tran was recognized Sunday afternoon as he takes on the Commissioner 1 position. Mr. Tran immigrated from Vietnam with his parents when he was 8 in 1975 and grew up in a small town in Iowa. He then served in the military before settling in Bourbon County.
Having been deployed around the world, you come back and you appreciate what you have here back in the States. And I'm grateful for what I have, what I've been able to accomplish in my lifetime in America. I mean, as I've told my friends, we came here with 3 suitcases and 3 people and $50. That's what we started our life here in America with.
The ceremony was held at the Main Street Citizens Bank gazebo in Fort Scott. St. Peter the Apostle Church in Joplin, Missouri held a special Corpus Christi celebration this weekend. The Catholic Holy Day honors the Eucharist, the belief that the bread and wine become the body and blood of Jesus Christ. Parishioners took part in a procession around the block, singing hymns as a sign of their faith. The celebration ended with divine praises, bringing the community together in worship and reflection. The Fair Acres Family YMCA in Carthage hosted a class on water safety for local second graders. KOAM's Mitch Adams brings us a deeper dive on this story.
Friday marked the beginning of summer, which means more children will jump in the water to cool off. Fair Acres Family YMCA in Carthage teaches second graders on how to be safe while swimming.
We want them to be comfortable in the water. We want to help get them over any kind of excessive fear of the water. There's a healthy fear of the water, and then there's an excessive fear. So we call that water acclimation. And then our second goal is obviously to develop water skills.
The CDC says that drowning is the second leading cause of death for children aged 5 through 14. The YMCA wants to make sure kids have these skills to prevent accidents.
I feel like when we make it fun, then a lot of those fears that maybe would have initially happened, they're just not even a possibility. Because the kids are so focused on the fun that they forget that, oh, something bad could happen. And then in the process, they're relaxed, and then our teaching becomes more effective because their bodies are relaxed and they're excited and they're ready to work.
Being able to combine fun with swimming skills makes for an entertaining way to keep on treading. In Carthage, Missouri, Mitch Adams, KOAM News.
The Carthage YMCA will continue to offer swimming lessons throughout the summer. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News. AAA is projecting record-breaking travel numbers for the July 4th holiday weekend. Plus, tensions with Iran rise as President Trump meets his national security team following recent military strikes. And we'll have a hot and sunny day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from Apple Park in Dunweg, Missouri. Topping Nation Watch. Summer is officially here and the start of one of the busiest travel seasons of the year. With gas prices still the lowest they've been since 2021, AAA expects a record number of people to hit the road over the 4th of July holiday period. It runs from Saturday, June 28th to Sunday, July 6th. During that period, AAA predicts nearly 62 million Americans will take a trip by car. People traveling by air for the holiday could also set a new record. Nearly 6 million travelers are expected to fly to their destinations. As for other options, AAA says nearly 5 million people will travel by bus, train, or take a cruise over the July 4th holiday. Today, President Donald Trump is expected to meet with his national security team 2 days after the U.S. military launched strikes on 3 Iranian nuclear sites. The Pentagon says more than 125 aircrafts, including B-2 bombers, were used in the mission and that its goals were accomplished. Now the U.S. is pushing for peace and a return to negotiations with Iran, even as the president and his top advisors voice differing viewpoints on whether there should be a, quote, regime change. Bradley Blackburn has more from New York.
This morning, mixed messages on Iran. On social media Sunday, President Donald Trump wrote, "It's not politically correct to use the term regime change, but if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change?" He posted hours after his Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, said this on CBS News Face the Nation.
What we are focused on is not the changing of the regime. Okay, that's up to the Iranian people.
Saturday's strikes on 3 Iranian nuclear sites were codenamed Operation Midnight Hammer. A White House official tells CBS News President Trump gave the final go-ahead from Marine One that same day during a call with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth.
The battle damage assessment is ongoing, but our initial assessment, as the chairman said, is that all of our precision munitions struck where we wanted them to strike and had the desired effect.
Satellite images show the aftermath of the strikes on Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. The president claimed on social media that monumental damage was done, with the largest damage far below ground level.
I knew in advance.
Yesterday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu acknowledged that he was given a heads up about the strikes. He says his country is close to achieving its goals in the conflict as Israel and Iran continue trading strikes. Anti-war protests popped up around the U.S. Sunday as the White House now calls for diplomacy with Iran over its nuclear program. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
Iran has vowed to respond to the U.S. strikes. President Trump says any retaliation from Iran will be met with force far greater than Saturday's strikes. A bulletin from the Department of Homeland Security says there's a heightened threat environment in the U.S. following the strikes, warning of possible cyber attacks or violence from extremists. Still to come, a new diabetes drug shows promise in easing migraines and boosting daily life. Plus, Chris Warner returns with another look at your Monday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
Banana cheesecake.
It's a perfect dessert for all of, hopefully, the summer parties you're going to be having. You know, 4th of July is not that far out. We've got to kind of plan ahead a little bit. This one is one that's even really best made the day before and let all those flavors kind of incorporate. So that makes it so nice. You can do it up, throw it in the fridge, just add your toppings at the last minute if there's something that you want. So it's a layered dessert, but we're actually going to start with our banana kind of cheesecake filling first. And it's not really a traditional cheesecake filling, but it does have a cream cheese base. So it's going to give you that nice texture.
Delicious. Wonderful.
Yeah. So we're just going to make a little bit of noise here. We're going to whip this up, get it really nice and creamy. We definitely want to start with the cream cheese softened. So let that set out for a little bit before you get going. We're going to add to it just a half a cup of powdered sugar. We're going to add some whipping cream, which is quite a bit of whipping cream, a whole cup. And then just a 1/4 cup of milk. So, and with any of our baking things, we've talked about this before, you always want to use whole milk. Unless for some reason that recipe specifies otherwise, which is very unusual. We need that fat, we need that extra content when it comes to any of our desserts and our baking. So always go for whole milk. Try not to throw it on yourself. Come on, pal. There we go. Down, down, boy. We're gonna just try not to throw this all over the studio, but get that cream together. It's gonna look a little bit like a cottage cheese mixture to start with. That's on purpose. We'll get there. We want to get all of that cream cheese really smooth in there. And then our last ingredient that of course is going to give it a really yummy banana flavor is going to be a package of banana instant pudding. So it's banana cream is typically what you can find in the store. You want to make sure that you do get the instant, not the cook and serve. And we're just going to dump that whole package right in there. And this will start to thicken that up pretty quickly. So if you still want to stick with your mixer, you can. If you let it sit for just a minute, that will start to become very easy to finish by hand with just a spatula. So it just kind of depends on how smooth you really want it to end up. But when we come back, we're going to talk about the rest of our layers. We're going to start our assembly process. And then last thing, we'll add some really yummy toppings on there to set it off.
Sounds wonderful, and it smells amazing already. All right, stick around. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 6:21 now on this Tuesday morning, and we are going to have another hot summer day out there. Temperatures by noon already into the upper 80s, close to 90, and the majority of us reaching at least 90 and maybe even some low 90s out there. Of course, our heat index value is still pushing close to 100 degrees. As we head overnight, it'll be another mild evening. We go into our Wednesday, it's going to be another hot day as we go low to mid 80s by noon and back into the upper 80s, and again, most of us into the low 90s as we head into Wednesday. Of course, leads to another fairly mild evening Wednesday night into Thursday, which will lead to another pretty toasty day on Thursday. I noticed this last week, and I noticed it again this morning. I haven't pointed it out, but I do believe that there might be a little data error with these temperatures because they suddenly jump like almost 15 degrees within a short time frame. They were looking more at the low to mid 80s by noon on Thursday, not the low 70s. While that would be nice, I don't think that's likely because see, watch how they just suddenly jump and then don't move into the upper 80s by the afternoon. So again, it's still going to be hot though. The 70s would certainly be nice by Thursday afternoon, but not looking very likely. On to the future track though. It's going to show us first off today, a few clouds. We discussed last week possibility of some pop-up storms today. Those chances look considerably lower than what was originally thought, but pop-up storms still possible this week. And believe it or not, if you watch right here overnight, could get a brief thunderstorm or two. It might try and clip our far northwestern counties. Any actual thunderstorm activity stays to our west. In fact, there's some severe risks, not in our area, but they do get close. So that's why we may get a stray storm or two overnight, but again, barely clipping us. Excuse me. Into tomorrow, well, those mostly clear to partly cloudy skies again, much like today. Goodness. And as we head into the afternoon, that's when we start to see pop-up storms on future track. Now, we've discussed this morning. If you haven't heard it yet, just a reminder on the pop-up storms on future track, there's not a guarantee there's going to be storms at this time right in these areas. For example, this great one here over by Mount Vernon by tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, about 5. It's not a guarantee there's going to be a storm right there. Future track with pop-up storms, the difficulty becomes there's not a wave or a front or a boundary or any other thing sparking the thunderstorms. They're simply being set off by daytime heating and some instability in the air. So they could be anywhere, but future track is showing that that's going to be a possibility. You see, they go away once we lose daytime heating. They will return on our Wednesday afternoon as things get hot again. Could get some pop-up storms out there. Now, again, most of them, they're very isolated. They don't really move much. Occasionally, they can reach low-grade severe status. So we don't have severe areas highlighted for us, but there's that possibility it might try and get a little tease. So just make sure you're keeping an eye to the sky and remember when thunder roars, head indoors. Reminder, heat advisories, Lynn, Bates County, through 7 this evening. Heat index values up here could reach 105. As for the rest of us, those heat index values still pushing close to 100 with that moderate to major risk for us today, and a still moderate to some major with a little minor sprinkled in as we head into Tuesday, and some of that comes with that pop-up storm chance. All right, and a reminder too, heat index values even up to 100 still. Heat-related illnesses are possible, and you want to make sure you're taking care of yourself, staying hydrated out there. All right, through the morning, there's that beautiful sunrise. A few clouds out there. Upper 70s by 8, mid 80s by 11 o'clock this morning. South winds today gusting upwards of 30, still gusting overnight, but easing up tomorrow. Low 90s continue for the foreseeable future, and we have those pop-up storm chances tomorrow through Thursday and again next week. Let's check your forecast. Here's Samantha now with Health Watch.
Thanks, Chris. There's concern that bird flu, also known as H5N1, is evolving to bypass the human immune system. Using artificial intelligence technologies, researchers at the University of North Carolina at Charlotte looked at thousands of viral proteins. They say the virus has mutated over the past decade, and those mutations increase the chances of a pandemic, and that older vaccines may not be as effective. 70 people have been infected, and 1 person has died from H5N1 in the U.S. A diabetes drug that may also help adults lose some weight could help people who suffer from migraines. Researchers at the University of Naples says migraine patients who took a liraglutide experienced 11 fewer headaches per month. They also reported improvement in their work, study, and social functioning. And a new study sheds light on why we feel short-term pain and chronic pain so differently. The Hebrew University of Jerusalem found the brain has a built-in way to manage and reduce short-term pain and keep it from getting out of control. But researchers say that system doesn't respond the same way to long-term pain, which is why it can be so much more difficult for patients to manage. The hope is the findings can one day lead to better treatments for chronic pain. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 6:30, the Joplin Parks and Recreation Department holds an event to talk about the importance of water safety.
And the heat is on again today. Got a few clouds, a beautiful sunrise. Talk about our temperatures and some rain chances coming up.
Plus, a new 5K run and walk steps up for foster kids in Pittsburgh. We'll take you there.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Samantha Walker.
I'm Chris Warner. It is now Monday. It is June the 23rd, and we made it through the first weekend of summer, into the first full week of summer, and it has certainly felt like summer. I mean, it's not been terrible, but it's still been pretty toasty, a little bit muggy out there for sure.
Yeah, but I'm enjoying the dry weather. We had so much rain that I was just excited to be able to go outside and not be stepping in puddles the entire time.
Yeah, I've noticed a few people getting their lawns mowed finally. It's been hard to kind of keep up with that. And I mean, last year, at this time we had extreme drought across the area, so thankfully we're not at that point. And we do need a little break, but we don't want the rain to come to a complete stop.
No.
We are getting into pop-up storm season as well, which we'll go over here in just a few minutes. But let's start with that look outside downtown Pittsburgh. Got a few clouds out there. We got the sunshine. It's a little bit hazy. It's a little bit muggy already, a little bit warm this morning. MoDOT camera 20th and Range Line in Joplin looking good as well. Reminder, heat advisories, Lynn and Bates County and our far northern edges here through 7 o'clock this evening. Up north here, heat index values could reach 105. As for the rest of us, though, heat index values could still reach close to 100 degrees. Future track. Now, we talked about some pop-up storm chances today. It looks a little less likely, but we are still going to have a few clouds here and there. We're still going to have the gusty winds. That's something else that kind of started with the start of summer. South winds today gusting upwards of about 30 miles an hour. Are better pop-up storm chances, but remember, they're super isolated. But at least we start seeing them on future track starting tomorrow, which we'll go over here in a few minutes. 76 in Joplin, 75 in Pittsburgh, and it was near 80 when I walked out the door just before 3 o'clock this morning. So we've come down a bit. We're reaching our lows for many of us, and we can still see mid-upper 70s for most of us. Again, Cassville, Monette, a little bit cooler this morning into the low 70s. We'll be low 80s by 9, upper 80s by noon. Highs today at or just a hair above 90 degrees. Mostly clear skies. As I mentioned, south winds gusting at 30. Heat index values today for most of us up to about 100. We do have the pop-up storm chances, but that really doesn't do much in terms of the temperatures. Talk about all that in the full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Chris, thanks. The Joplin Parks and Recreation Department, in partnership with other organizations, held a Show Me Water safety event at Wildcat Glades on Saturday. The event is meant to help with the lowering of injury and fatality rates in local waterways. Those who attended were able to learn practical skills and gain the knowledge needed to stay safe around streams and lakes.
How parents and kids can learn different things about water safety that maybe they didn't know, or improve on skills that they had, and just show different ways that they can be safe in and around the water. It's really great to see people be interested in things like that.
Under Missouri law, children under 7 years old must have a life jacket when they're on a boat of any kind. The Joplin Juneteenth celebrations wrapped up over the weekend. Saturday was the last day of the 3-day event known as the Freedom Celebration. The day kicked off with a 5K run and a variety of activities that could be attended throughout the day. The event ended with the announcement of Mr. and Mrs. Juneteenth.
It is okay to celebrate all of our differences, celebrate all of our cultures, and come together and just be people together.
Funds raised from Saturday's event will go to the establishment of Hope Park at the location the celebration took place. Schools here in Joplin are getting a little bit of a facelift with help from James River Church. Volunteers spent the day on Saturday painting over 85,000 square feet and doing yard work at schools in Springfield and Joplin. The surface project is used as a way to help with projects that may not be included in regular maintenance or annual budgets.
Watching the campus transform, I mean, literally all the landscaping just is totally redone in the matter of a few hours. It beautifies the campus, fresh paint on the walls. I mean, the rooms look completely new after we're done.
Around 100 volunteers helped at Joplin High School. An event called Hug-a-Herp took place Saturday at Prairie State Park in Mendamines, Missouri. People of all ages gathered to get a chance to be up close and personal with different types of reptiles. Snakes and lizards were just a few different species that were being shown. Kids had an opportunity to hold these animals and hopefully be more open-minded to the idea of reptiles.
So conservation, I'm all about conservation. I've loved animals since I was young, especially the ones that, people don't really like to touch, like these guys. So conserving these animals is a very big important deal. A lot of people will go out of their way to harm these animals when these guys, they won't harm you.
People that attended the Hug-a-Herp event were also able to explore the facilities and nature of Prairie State Park. Fostering Connections hosts a 5K run and walk in Pittsburgh on Saturday. KOAM's Mitch Adams has more.
The community supports local nonprofit Fostering Connections by participating in a new event. The organization hosts their first 5K run and walk, taking place in Guerrilla Village at Pittsburgh State.
Well, a couple of our leadership team members just suggested that we do this last year, and thankfully we kind of stayed on the idea and thought this would be a fun event for kids to get involved, and not just adults, but something that we could do for kids. And bring your kids, bring your dog, bring your stroller, and it's been a fun event to plan.
Fostering Connections has been active since 2018, providing support for local foster children and their families.
And we just realized through doing it ourselves there was such a gap in a lot of services that agencies either didn't have the financial capacity or the time to figure out, and so we were able to step in and provide a lot of those initiatives. And today we have about 15 different initiatives that serve foster and adopted families or kids in care.
Around 50 racers came out to either run or walk the 5K. Nicholson says that the goal is to expand their support even further.
And I feel like they're our core group of really supporters who've been with us for a long time, and we just hope it grows every year. We want to be able to increase awareness of what we do in the community, what we're doing in Southeast Kansas. We're expanding north, we're expanding south this year, and so we just want to be able to further our impact this year in 2025.
In Pittsburgh, Kansas, Mitch Adams, KOAM News.
According to Fostering Connections, the amount of miles to run was to symbolize how many homes a foster child can go through before finding permanent placement. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, a small fleet of Tesla robo-taxis hit the streets in Texas after years of anticipation. Plus, 3 food companies are recalling their dark chocolate nonpareil candies. We'll have the details. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from Apple Park in Dunweg, Missouri. In Consumer Watch this morning, the first of 2 rounds of extreme heat is underway for parts of the eastern half of the U.S. Temperatures are expected to reach dangerous, record-breaking levels over the weekend and into next week, as those temperatures are searching for ways to beat the heat without breaking the bank. Experts say a few simple steps could keep your home cool and save you money. Ivan Rodriguez has the latest.
With summer heat bearing down, Josh Locker with Oxair USA says energy bills are a growing concern for many American families.
Homeowners say they're more cautious about summer spending and worried about how they're going to afford to cool their homes.
Locker says small steps like filter changes and outdoor unit cleanings make a big difference.
change your filter out, wash your condenser. After you mow the grass, make sure you clean that condenser off, wash all those grass clippings that may get on the condenser outside.
And timing matters. Putting off maintenance can turn into costly repairs.
If one thing breaks, it could take out another and another.
Temperatures are expected to rise across parts of the northeast and central U.S. in a prelude to next week's heat dome. The heat dome is forecast to expand across the central and eastern U.S. by the weekend, covering parts of the southern plains to the Midwest, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast. High temperatures across these regions are expected to soar at least 15 degrees above normal and will mark the hottest temperatures of the year to date, rising into the 90s. Humidity will make it feel even hotter.
The big thing that I would say is if you take a shower, make sure and turn your exhaust fan on, because every time you're running water in the house, you're actually adding humidity as well. But keeping the doors closed, in and out as fast as you can.
In Atlanta, I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
After years of teasing, Tesla finally launched a small fleet of its robo-taxis in Austin, Texas Sunday. In a post on X, Tesla's CEO Elon Musk called the rollout a, quote, culmination of a decade of hard work. Musk also said the customers paid a flat fee of $4.20 for the rides. At least 3 food companies are recalling their dark chocolate nonpareils candies. According to the Food and Drug Administration, the candy may contain undeclared milk, which could cause a life-threatening reaction to those with milk allergies. Weaver Nut Company, JLM brand, and Southeastern or SE Grocers brand have all been impacted. Anyone who has the recall products should return them to the place of purchase for a refund. The FDA says no illnesses have been reported so far. And How to Train Your Dragon topped the weekend box office again, despite some tough competition, raking in $37 million. Zombie sequel 28 years later debuted second at $30 million. Disney Pixar's Elio premiered in third spot, bringing in $21 million. That's it for Consumer Watch this morning. Here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, quick look outside downtown Pittsburgh. Again, a few clouds out there. Otherwise, we've got plentiful sunshine. It is going to be hot and muggy once again today. We start to see our pop-up storm chances building as we roll into Tuesday. Go over all those details with you. And, of course, we're going to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries right after this. Time for some Monday birthdays in the 4 states, and we are going to begin in Columbus with Jail King celebrating birthday number 8. Says happy birthday from your family.
Well, happy birthday to Braden Miller, turning 9 here in Lawrence, Kansas. Says lots of love from Papa, Uma, Orion, and Charlie.
And in Columbus, Sophie Biggerstaff celebrating birthday number 11 today. Very happy birthday to you.
And Braden Seaford in Arma, Kansas is turning big number 16. It says, we are so proud of you. Love, Mom.
And in Pittsburgh, Madison Nagel celebrating birthday number 24. Says happy birthday with love from Grandma, Grandpa, Mom, and Key.
And Jaden Baugh in Carthage, Missouri is turning 26. Happy birthday, Jaden.
And Philip Master Crow Reese celebrating birthday number 40 today. Says happy birthday from Aunt Charlene, Noah, and the rest of the family. Says you came a long way, sweetheart. We're proud of you.
And Brenda Gochner in Pittsburgh, Kansas is turning 60. Happy birthday, Brenda. Says happy birthday from your friends at Kless Ltd.
And in Jasper, Chad and Candace Harris celebrating their 23rd year of wedded bliss. A very happy anniversary to you.
And another anniversary in Crestline, Kansas, Justin and Moshia Schultz celebrating their 24th anniversary. Happy anniversary to them.
And we have another anniversary for Monty and Diana Cowarden celebrating number 40. Happy anniversary.
And then Debbie Grieve in Pittsburgh, Kansas is celebrating a birthday. Says thank you for making the world a better place. We love you, your family.
And Diane Coombs in St. Paul celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday.
And Natalie Douglas is celebrating a birthday. Happy birthday, Natalie.
And it's Chinook Karen Bates celebrating another year wiser today. Very happy birthday to you, Karen.
And another Chinook birthday, Jan Shipley, is also celebrating a birthday. Happy birthday, Jan.
And our list continues with Luis Ferraro celebrating a birthday in Columbus. Happy birthday.
And happy birthday to Shirley Grant as well. Happy birthday.
And last but certainly not least on our list, Scott Sullivan in Columbus, also celebrating another year wiser. And of course, a very happy birthday and anniversary to everyone on that phenomenal list of birthdays and anniversaries. And if you would like to celebrate with us, Samantha has some information for you.
Yes, I do. We want to make sure to celebrate with you so we can have a great list every day like today. So you can go ahead and submit those birthdays and anniversaries to birthdays@koamnewsnow.com. You can see that email on your screen, and make sure to pay attention to that deadline on your screen as well to make sure that we're able to get it on here in time to celebrate with you on your special day.
Absolutely. And of course, if you are celebrating, make sure you're staying hydrated, you're in the shade, or preferably indoors, because it's going to be hot again. Temperatures into the upper 80s already by noon today, getting close to 90. Ahead of temperatures climbing into the 90s as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. As we go into, that's for Tuesday. I just now realized this whole time that that was on Tuesday, not today. How have I not seen that yet? All right, well, anyway, it's still going to be hot today. It's going to be hot tomorrow as well. Just a heads up on that. All right, Wednesday, already low mid-80s by noon as we roll into the afternoon. It's another day back into the low 90s for just about all of us. And as we head into Thursday, it's going to continue to be hot. A mild start to the day once again. As I mentioned, you see how the temperature stopped moving? I noticed it last week. It hasn't kind of fixed itself yet. For some reason, Thursday, these temperatures, they kind of freeze on the map at about 5 a.m. and then they suddenly jump going into the afternoon. So we're not going to be in the low to mid 70s by noon Thursday. While that would certainly be pleasant, it is not going to be the case. We'll already be in the low to mid 80s, and then it corrects itself and they jump suddenly. So that's more accurate by the afternoon. Unfortunately, I know those 70s would certainly be nice. Not going to be the case, at least not daytime temperatures in the 70s. Back into the upper 80s, low 90s rolling into Thursday. Now for today, we're windy again. That's something else that kicked off the first day of summer was gusty south winds, and they continue today. We'll have a few clouds here and there, otherwise remaining dry. Overnight tonight in our far northwestern counties could get a stray shower or storm. There is a severe risk. It's off to our west. We actually have no severe risk areas highlighted at this point for us, but some of the storms might get close enough to, again, you see they just barely clip us. Our better chances, which are slim, for any kind of rain are going to be with our pop-up storms as we roll into the afternoon and evening hours over the next few days. So they form with the heating of the day. So that's why when you see on Future Track, anytime we're showing you a pop-up storm situation, you got to take what you see here with a grain of salt. There's not a guarantee that there will be storms in these areas at these times. Future Track is simply saying that the environment will be favorable for pop-up storms out there. And the reason it's hard for Future Track to pinpoint pop-up storms is, as I've mentioned, there's not a cold front or a wave or a boundary or something specific triggering the storm. So the Future Track knows where to look for where storms could be. These are just feeding off the heating of the day, some instability in the air. So again, by 5 o'clock tomorrow, there's not a guarantee there will be a thunderstorm over Mount Vernon, but we could have some pop-up storms out there. Once we lose the daytime heating, we lose the pop-up storms, and then they will return as we head into our Wednesday afternoon and evening. So again, not necessarily exactly where you see them, but pop-up storms will be a possibility. And just a quick reminder with them too, again, they're usually short-lived. They come in the afternoon, early evening. And they don't really move a lot, so they can cause some brief flash flooding concerns. The other issue they have is occasionally they can become strong to low-grade severe. Typically what we see from them is they produce some small hail. That's not a guarantee either. We don't have any severe risk areas highlighted, but again, pop-up storms can occasionally intensify a bit when they form out there, so it's something else. Just make sure you remember when thunder roars, head indoors. A reminder, heat advisories, Lynn, Bates County out there until 7. Heat index values up there close to 105. As for the rest of us, we're going to be in that 100-degree range. So we still have a moderate to major heat risk today. Moderate with some minor in there as we head into Tuesday, and again, not much change as we roll into Wednesday across the area. So remember, just make sure you're taking care of yourself, staying hydrated, and staying indoors or finding shade, cool spots when you can. A few clouds out there like what we're seeing now. Upper 70s near 80 to start the day, mid 80s by 11 a.m. We're going to have another look at your forecast and the news you need to know in just a moment. And when we transition to Fox 14 at 7 a.m., or if you're streaming with us on KOAM Plus, then just stay right where you are, because we're going to see why dairy farmers are taking an unusual approach to make a buck.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. The body of a 12-year-old Erie, Kansas boy has been recovered from the Neosho River. At approximately 12:38 Sunday, KDWP notified Sheriff Taylor of a possible sighting of the child's body in the Neosho River at the KGE Dam, located a couple of miles south of US 400 highway in Labette County. First responders were able to recover the body successfully. The body has been turned over to the Neosho County coroner. A new Bourbon County commissioner has been sworn in. Sam Tran was recognized Sunday afternoon as he takes on the Commissioner 1 position. Mr. Tran immigrated from Vietnam with his parents when he was 8 in 1975 and grew up in a small town in Iowa. The ceremony was held at the Main Street Citizens Bank gazebo in Fort Scott. The Joplin Parks and Recreation Department, in partnership with other organizations, held a Show Me Water safety event at Wildcat Glades on Saturday. Those who attended were able to learn practical skills and gain the knowledge needed to stay safe around streams and lakes. Under Missouri law, children under 7 years old must have a life jacket when they're on a boat of any kind. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
And as you head out the door, it is going to be hot. It's going to be a bit cloudy, a few clouds here and there. And it's going to be breezy again. South winds gusting upwards of 30. While mostly clear skies through the evening, still pretty toasty, near 80 by 10. Low to mid 70s tonight. South winds still gusting to 20. Over the next few days, pop-up storm chances tomorrow through Thursday. Again, they'll be very isolated, but we could get a shower storm out there. And it stays hot, low 90s through the week and into the weekend with more pop-up storm chances by next week.
So I am making sure my sunscreen is out and ready.
That or just stay indoors. That's what I do.
Okay, also a good plan. Well, coming up today at noon, we're making prize-winning lemon chicken in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings, the very latest on the U.S. strikes against Iran and the plans to keep Americans safe as Iran threatens to retaliate.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, Bourbon County swears in a new county commissioner.
And Lori Horton back in the studio to finish making those incredible no-bake banana cheesecakes. However, it's going to wrap it up for us for now. Back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And we'll see you today at noon.